YouTubers, Hankster here, and welcome to the first of many reviews involving, of course, Doctor Who, which, of course, is celebrating its 50th anniversary not only this month, but also especially this week, because later this week, the BBC will be broadcasting the heavily anticipated 50th anniversary episode featuring not only Matt Smith as the current Doctor, the 11th Doctor, but, of course, the return of David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, and of course a mysterious incarnation played by John Hurt. But basically we're going to be focusing on the last Doctor Who anniversary special, which was way back in 1983, being that in 1993 and 2003 there wasn't a Doctor Who series at the time. Basically, this is the special called The Five Doctors, and basically reunited all the Doctor's 5 incarnations at the time, and almost pretty much all the actors, which included, of course, Peter Davison, Doctor number 5, Tom Baker, Doctor number 4, John Pertwee, who, of course, was the 3rd Doctor, Patrick Troughton, who was the 2nd Doctor, and Richard Hurndall, who, of course, took over the role of the 1st Doctor, originally played by the late William Hartnell. Of course, this special not only featured all 5 of the Doctors, but a good portion of the Doctor's companions, including, of course, the late Elizabeth Sladen, who, of course, played Sarah Jane, Nicholas Courtney, a.k.a. the Brigadier, Carol Ann Ford, Susan, who, of course, was the Doctor's granddaughter. And, of course, and the 5th Doctor's current companions as well was on there, Tegan and the other guy. Now, of course, the plot of the story is that during a vacation, or a little bit of a step out of the swing of things with his companions, the Doctor started experiencing pains in his body, being that he was picking up his other selves, his previous incarnations, being pulled out of the time frame by a mysterious force and placed into a dark area of his home planet Gallifrey, the home of the Time Lords, known as the Death Zone. Basically, a zone where their ancient ancestors once kidnapped people and had them play gladiatorial games and such. Not only were the Doctors being pulled in, but of course the companions that they were with at the time. The 2nd Doctor, of course, had the Brigadier. Sarah Jane teamed up with the 3rd Doctor. Yes, she did know the 3rd Doctor before she knew the 4th Doctor. And Susan, who, of course, as I said, was the 1st Doctor's granddaughter, also came along for the ride. Even though we do see some other well-known Doctor companions in this thing, but of course they would just wind up being illusions. And they are, of course, forced to play the game of Rassilon and find out who is really pulling the strings, who brought them there, and who's trying to claim a secret of the first ruler of the Time Lords, Rassilon. Of course, you might recognize that name. He, of course, has come up in many episodes, including, of course, End of Time, series of episodes, which, of course, ended the run of David Tennant as the 10th Doctor. We'll be hopefully getting to that particular special in the review in the near future. Now, of course, not only are the good guys there, but of course many of the Doctor's well-known enemies have also been pulled up into this situation, including, of course, the Cybermen, the Daleks, and also the Master. The Master, of course, was basically pulled in through the request of the ruling body of Time Lords to try to find out what the heck's going on. They sent him in there, sent him into the dead zone to try to find the Doctor, with the promise that he would not only be will pretty much no longer be called an outlaw, that he would also regain his life cycle. He'll be getting new regenerations. So basically, this is just a merry romp, merry and scary romp through the dead zone into the Tower of Rassilon, and basically find out his secret, as well as who is really pulling the strings of this particular adventure. And of course, it was not the Master. It's somebody almost totally unexpected. I have to say, it was a pretty good episode. This was a pretty good special. Of course, at the time when this was released here in the United States, we were still going through the Tom Baker period, and the United States was not formally introduced to Peter Davison, the 10th Doctor, as of yet. I don't think, even though they did have a tour of most of the other Doctors in the United States shortly after the release of the special, and most people had only known Tom Baker as the Doctor mostly because his episodes were only the ones aired in the United States, as well as that he was the longest Doctor, being he was there for 7 years, in the role for 7 years. Oddly enough, though he helped promote the special, Tom Baker originally bowed out of the project, and the producers and the directors and all decided to use clips from his run as the Doctor that they would figure that would fit, and basically edited some special effects and stuff, and he would have, and basically to say, even though he wasn't with the others, he was basically trapped in some time vortex or something like that, being that he, along with one of his companions at the time, it's just kind of, so that was kind of an excuse. Now, of course, as I said, Richard Hurndall, of course, took over the role of the first Doctor, being that William Hartnell had passed away before this project went underway. He, of course, was the first Doctor for about 3 years, and of course did get a chance to work with two of his fellow Doctors, Troughton and Pertwee, in a special called The Three Doctors back in 1973, shortly before Tom Baker took over the role. Of course, as you know, there was if you're a Doctor Who fan, of course, there was other meetings of other of the Doctors, especially during the sixth run of the sixth incarnation, the Doctor played by Colin Baker. He, of course, had a team up with his second incarnation, Troughton, in a couple of adventures. And, of course, a little bit more recent times, Patrick Davison did a brief little special team up with David Tennant in a little mini episode called Time Crash. So it's not the first. So it's not the first time that they've had major encounters. Even though they did explain that, well, if the Doctor basically it answers the question: why does if the Doctor can regenerate in these new forms, why he has encountered himself more often? Well, they do have a rule that you can't run into your past selves or your future selves or whatever unless it's an emergency situation. Kind of like what happened with the 5 Doctors. Most of the time, it's usually a situation that's out of their control, and they run into each other. But all in all, it's a pretty good special. As I said, the DVD, of course, has not just the, two versions of the movie, and a 1983 and a 1995 redone version. It has commentary, has a celebration special. It has documentaries involving how the show, that particular special was made. Also some basically some talk show appearances they did during the time, stuff like that. As well as some outtakes, pretty funny outtakes, and some bloopers with some special effects and stuff like that. But all in all, it's a pretty good special. Of course, if all you people might have not, maybe not seen all the Doctors, especially here in the States. It's just been in recent a couple of decades that we've been, the United States has been able to see the episodes featuring at least the first two Doctors. But this is a pretty good episode to get you kind of knowing. And the funniest thing of the whole thing is that they don't even get along. It's versions of the same person, but they can't even get along because they have different personalities. Especially the second and third Doctors, they can't even get along. But you just got to get this, and there's some laughs in there, obviously. But all in all, it's a good special. I kind of liked it when they have team ups or encounters with each other. Just like it's going to happen with this time, the Day of the Doctor, as the episode's been named, where the 10th and 11th Doctor meets up with each other. There, of course, has been rumors that the 9th Doctor might make a guest appearance, but of course, it's kind of interesting that Christopher Eccleston is, of course, probably out busy promoting the new Thor movie, being he's the lead villain in that. But John Hurt, of course, is... and of course, he's supposed to be this mysterious incarnation between the 8th Doctor, who, of course, we briefly see in the Doctor Who movie back in 1996, and the supposed 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. So, hopefully, with this special, reveal what's going on with all these rumors and stuff, and we'll get straightened out of there. But don't worry, I'm going to be continuing on my reviews, not just with some choice selections I made with the series itself, but also with my actual action figure collection, and of course my own TARDIS. I guess I do have a TARDIS to show you all, so stay tuned for that, and stay tuned here for more reviews and time whatnot here on the Multiverse. See you.